Peter Lyndon-James does run Shalom House, one of the strictest rehabs for addicts in the Swan Hills. He's been invited to the Southwest to tell you how you can dish out some tough love. But right now we'll hear from a pastor who invited him down here and a mother who's dished out her own share of tough love.
When you have a child that grows up in a good home, in inverted commas, and then that person goes off the rails and chooses a different lifestyle, it's very, very, very trying for the family. My name's Glynis, and I'm a mother of 3 children and a grandmother of 8. It's been a real challenge and tiring. It's wearing to have somebody who's addicted to drugs, especially when they don't understand that they really have got a problem and they won't admit it. That's worse than anything else. My son actually has had many addictions. The very first one was actually marijuana, and that helped him then to get into other drugs. And yes, he did try meth, and he's tried other cocktails of drugs as well, and has landed himself in some very deep water. Well, my son actually did end up in prison. Assault charges, not actually drug charges so much, but it was as a result of drug and alcohol consumption, illicit and legal drugs, as in tablets, and he didn't know what he was doing, ended up in prison. But he was not necessarily forced to go into rehab, but he did go to Esperance. That was quite traumatic for us all as a family, because it meant he was very difficult to go and actually visit, and taking people out of their environment where they are likely to have bad influences is probably good in a lot of ways. But I would have much rather had my son been able to, have a rehab facility somewhere, in closer. It is very sad to see that people are not really rehabilitating. Those addictions are just destroying their families and destroying their chances at maybe a better life, and financially it's a very difficult thing, and you see that. There's a lot of things going on around town. Often you hear about things, and it's very, very sad. So many people just do the whole Band-Aid approach, just maybe fixing up one part of it, but it's a holistic thing. It has to be, every part of that human being has to be dealt with, because you don't really know what's going on in their past and so on that's made them turn to the drugs.
My name's David Carr. I'm the pastor at the Collie Church of Christ, and I've been in Collie for about 14 months now. I'd had this idea ever since seeing Peter and his presentation in Perth that perhaps something like that would help in Collie. Give them a hope to perhaps come out of the drug addiction, or at least give them, who love those people who are addicted, a way to know how to deal with them and to put them in a position where they can come out of the addiction. I'm one who actually advocates leaving your current situation and the temptations in this area to go, which, for Collie would be good, because Bunbury's not too far, but it's far enough away that you're living in a separate area and the temptations that you would normally experience aren't there. But you're having it so that it's accessible and you don't have to completely uproot would be a helpful thing, I think. Obviously, it depends on the kind of rehab. Peter has a very particular approach to his rehab, religious-based one, and a lot of them are, but he's known for his, like he says in his book, tough love. Whatever you can do to get them out of it is love. It might be hard, it often is hard, but when you're in such a deep hole, it's going to take some tough stuff to get out. What Peter does will help those who want to get better, but there are less and less of those who actually want to get better. They're happy in their addiction, in their comfort zone. Compulsory rehab may help in some aspects, but to actually recover fully, you need to want to do it. It's like they say in AA, isn't it? You have to admit your problem first. That's step one, but then you also have to want to change. We see a lot in society of people who are trying to be nice. I think loving people means just to be nice all the time, but we don't see a long-term positive effect. But I see in Peter, in the tough love, he shows that he loves these guys who are with him. He shows them the way through, but the way to do that is to address all the issues fully, get them fully out, and that is hard for a lot of people, and people don't want to always address those things.
If you've got somebody that has a drug problem and they admit it and they're willing to actually start on that road to recovery, it's so much easier.
We've only got one word for love, a lot of nuances to that word. Love, for me, is wanting the good for someone else. whatever you can do to get out of it is love. And it might be hard, it often is hard, but when you're in such a deep hole, it's going to take some tough stuff to get out.
There's been times when my husband probably would have wiped his hands off our son at times, and at times you just want to, not very loving. But, I think it needs to be a family support base as well as close friends, people who understand what's going on and can be there for you and with you and understand the situation.
That was Glynis from Collie, whose son has faced a long battle with addiction, and Pastor David Carr from the Collie Church of Christ. He's invited the head of WA's strictest rehab down to the southwest to tell you how to dish out tough love. His name is Peter Lyndon-James of Shalom House, and he'll be speaking in Collie tomorrow at 7 p.m. Have you had any experience with tough love? Does it work, or does the soft approach work better getting through to addicts? If you've had any experiences trying to get someone to change, let me know this morning. 1300 545 222 is the phone number to call. You can text in those experiences to 0448 922 604. Regional Drive will be talking to Peter Lyndon-James later on today as well, so make sure you're listening after 3.